I want to talk a little bit about kind of what we've seen in the first few rounds, mostly kind of what we saw on Saturday, and then give a little bit of a preview for what we can kind of expect here on Sunday. So before we can even start about this tournament, we got to talk about what happened, a few weeks back. Tiger Woods is without a doubt the most polarizing athlete I think any sport has ever had. The way that guy pushes the needle, the amount of people that will tune in to watch when he is on television is unreal. There's never been anybody like him before in any sport. The closest is probably Jordan, but the effect that he has on ratings is even more than what Jordan did in basketball. I mean, he moves the needle. And for him to announce before the season really got going, and this is kind of the big event that kicks off the year, that he's hurt and he's going to be done at his age, he's going to be done for a while. I mean, absolutely devastating. Just the complete wind out of the sails for golf season before it even starts. And I was so bummed out to hear about it because it was so exciting seeing him kind of the way that he was swinging, how happy he looked when he was playing, and their new kind of circuit that he created with Rory McIlroy, and like that, just being able to watch him play and knowing that was coming up. It's kind of at the point where like no one really expects him to win anymore, compete, but it's also you're like, that's Tiger Woods. That dude can win at any point. He's the greatest golfer to ever live, and it's been 10 years since he's been healthy. And even still, it's like you just believe that somewhere inside there. And so watching that reading that announcement that he injured his Achilles, that he was done, I mean, awful. Just a total gut punch that is just the worst possible thing that could happen for this tournament, for golf, for fans, for everybody involved around that, everyone that cares about golf. So immediately you're going into the Masters and you're missing your biggest draw, and it's like there's just so much less juice involved in kind of going in, and you're wondering what's going to happen. There's some storylines we're kind of trying to find them at this point, but you still feel so deflated and defeated kind of going in. First few rounds are fine. I mean, there's nothing kind of crazy to talk about. There's some movement on the leaderboard. Rose the first few days was incredible. He came back down to earth a little bit. Roy starts day one awesome and then just falls apart on the back nine. And he felt like he was kind of, at that point, maybe kind of too far back, kind of out of it. And you just kind of have Scotty, trucking along and kind of all these guys at the top that some big names, but you kind of waiting to see what happens on moving day. And then moving day comes. And again, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, all the way down for a while is Tiger Woods playing, Tiger Woods in contention, Tiger Woods being on a golf course. Barring that, if that is not something you can have, this was the best case scenario for golf. This was the best case scenario for CBS, and it has set up for what is going to be an incredible finish and should have the best viewership on a Masters Sunday that you could basically ask for on a leaderboard. We were having this debate, me and some of my friends today. If you take Tiger Woods out of it, who is the next most polarizing, the next biggest draw in the golfing world? What Bryson DeChambeau's done on YouTube and his kind of rebranding over the last few years, because I'm old enough to remember when he was not a fan favorite, where he was a guy that a lot of people made fun of on the tour and got around more than anything. And now he's turned into like one of the most likable guys on the tour. But what he's done on YouTube and the way that he's kind of expanded his brand, he might be the biggest draw. His probably biggest competition is Rory McIlroy, who at age 25 had already had 4 majors. Everyone thought that he was the next face of golf and he was going to take off. And then all of a sudden he's turned into a guy that gets right to the doorstep and then for him and for all of his fans, breaks their heart. Like time and time again. And now you get the two biggest names going at it on what I think is the biggest tournament in golf. The Masters, to me, is the most prestigious, especially on a Sunday, is the biggest moment of golf every year. And there's so many storylines between these two guys. Roy, like I said, got 4 majors. The one he is missing for a career Grand Slam is the Masters. And he's dabbled and he's gotten close, but he has never gotten a Masters win. And, I mean, he was second in 2022. And again, you go back to kind of the heartbreak of how many times he's been second. It plays into just the most beautiful, poetic narrative that golf. I mean, how can you not be romantic about golf? The matchup that we're going to have between these two, when what happened just last year, when Roy was absolutely controlling the 2024 U.S. Open at Pinehurst, and then just had one of the most painfully epic collapses that you saw coming and you didn't know how to help. You couldn't help but watch the 3 bogeys in the final 4 holes, including 2 bogeys where he had a par putt from 3 feet. One of them was a slider, and it was a tough putt, but like one PGA Tour guy should be making. The other one was as straight as you could be, and he just crumbled on it. That was on 16. I mean, it was the easiest. It was a putt that you can see, guys. It was as straight and as flat as what you're going to have on a Muni, and it's an easy putt. And it was just so obvious that he was in his head and was kind of falling apart. And then the images of him sitting in the clubhouse, just distraught, knowing what he had done and watching as Bryson closed it out and got that win, knowing it should have been him, and then him making the announcement about how it was one of the toughest days, if not the toughest day he's ever had on a golf course, and how he needed to take time away from golf to clear his head and didn't play in the next few tournaments, and he was gone for a while with everything else he had going on behind the scenes with his home life, and I don't want to dive into all that, but he had a lot going on. And a guy that was just that close to tasting greatness and kind of getting back over the hump. Well, now he's got a chance of redemption against the guy that walked him down, with a chance of getting his career Grand Slam. Or he's got a chance at adding the most painful of heartbreaks again. Because now he's going into Sunday at the Masters with a 2-shot lead after shooting 6 under, an incredible 66 after he shot a 66 to get to 12 under now. And just, he's got all the momentum in the world. Everything is working for him. And he's sitting there going into Sunday now with 2-shot lead. All you got to do is hold on. Buck that trend. Get back on his winning ways. And it's one of those things that feels like if he can just get the pressure off of finally winning another one, he could potentially be that guy again that starts rattling him off and he becomes the face of golf again and he just takes off, because it's been there for 10 years. It has been 10 years since he last won a major. The dude had 4 before he was 25. He's now 35 and he's still sitting at 4. And he's had so many times where he was right there, but like it's been forever for him. And this is a guy that fought for the PGA when LIV was going on. This is a guy that's done everything. This is a guy that has been fighting for this tour and been trying to hold the mantle, and he puts all the pressure of the golfing world on his shoulders. If he can just get this tomorrow, there's going to be such an exhale, and then you can just see this guy going back to being dominant in golf. Or you can add one of the more painful chapters again to it. Bryson's pretty good. He's playing awesome right now. He's also got 2 majors in his life. Doesn't have a Masters, but he's going to have an opportunity at winning one now. And these 2 guys kind of separated themselves from the pack. So the stage is absolutely set for all the dramatics, for an incredible finish. And I can't wait to see which of these 2 things we see happen. It's one thing if Bryson plays out of his mind and just goes out and catches him and beats him. It's another thing if Roy starts to get the yips and starts to crumble and starts to choke. And I would hate that for him because he is genuinely one of the nicest guys that you will meet that is a top-end pro athlete. I got a chance to cross paths with him during the PGA Championship last year. Getting a chance to kind of see him and humanize him, he was so genuine and such a likable person that it makes it even that much more painful when you watch kind of what the train wreck in slow motion. So now we wait and see what happens. So those are the 2 guys head and shoulders above the field. If I had to pick what I think is going to happen, as much as it pains me, it's really hard to pick Roy on a Sunday. It's really, really hard. I am terrified for the first time after he gets 10 holes in, 11 holes in, that he has a bad shot and something doesn't go his way. And then he is alone with those demons inside his head. That's the beautiful thing about golf, is it is just you, that ball, and your thoughts. And there are times where it just rattles you and you can't, it doesn't matter what your caddy says to you, it doesn't matter what's going on, until you hit another good shot where you can kind of get out of it. It can really shake you. And it's so much between your ears. It is beyond almost any other sport. And I'm just so afraid that if that moment happens, if there's some pressure and he gets to the back 9, what that's going to do to him. And I feel like it's going to happen. And I feel like Bryson walks him down. Now, if I had to pick anybody that is not those 2 names that might be in contention, they have such a big lead on the field. I feel like Patrick Reed would be the best chance, I think. He is 6 shots back. So it would take Roy blowing up and him having a great day. But he's won a Masters. He knows this course. He knows these greens. And his game around the greens is immaculate. And so if he ends up having a good day, if he drives it well and then plays to his strengths after that, and if Roy blows up, and if Bryson tries to catch a green in 2 and gives away a couple strokes, I think Patrick could be a guy that could potentially be in the mix there at the end. I don't think Scotty's playing well enough right now to make up the shots that he's back. I think he'll still be top 10 when it's all said and done, but I don't think he kind of gets in contention. But I don't think anyone else other than those top 2 guys of the leaderboard are going to be in the mix here. They've kind of created that separation. And Bryson making that putt on 18 was what really is going to set up for Sunday being incredible. That was an awesome birdie putt from basically the fringe, cans it, and you could see the emotion, the energy, and knowing that, that's the difference between feeling like you got a 3-shot lead and a 2-shot lead is massive. 3-shot, you got all the cushion in the world, and even if you have a bad shot, you're like, I'm fine. 2-shot, you make one mistake, and now it's in the back of your head that you're really only up 1. That at any point that he can catch you, or that if you give it away, and you put pressure on every one of your shots. If you're up 3 and you have a bad shot, you think you still got 1 to play with. You don't when you're only up 2. So that putt was clutch, and it really gives a lot of momentum going into Sunday. So my pick on Sunday would be Bryson. But my heart would love it if Roy, especially like, can you imagine him if he makes a birdie on 18 to win it, something like that? If he has a moment where he goes out and wins it, not so much as he holds on. All we can do now is watch and see what happens. And I, for one, cannot wait. It's going to be incredible.